Hi guys, so today I'm just going to talk about my career profile number 2. For this one, I went ahead and went with licensed clinical social worker. Luckily, I actually work for a counseling office. It's called South Point Counseling Services. So I work with about 11 clinical social workers and about 3 marriage and family therapists. So I was able to interview one of the therapists there. Her name is Diana. She is a licensed clinical social worker. Um, I went ahead and asked her the questions that I had. It was working environment, small organization. It was a small organization. It was 25 hours a week. It was a flexible workspace just because she's able to choose her schedule. She works Tuesday from about nine, sometimes 8, but 9 to 6, and then she has a group therapy session from 6 to 7, and then Wednesday from like 9 to noon, and then Thursday from 9 to 3, and then she has the rest of the week off, which I thought was really sweet just because she still gets to be home. There's actually another therapist who just works Thursday and Friday from like 9 to 9, and she's home with her kids the whole rest of the time. So I think that's really awesome. A typical stressor, she said, was that obviously you encounter a lot of clients who need assistance in order to stay away from several things like addictions, maybe even suicide attempts, things like that. Um, so she says it's really important to be aware of those scenarios. Um, Typical benefits. So I think since she works for like a small private business, she's not able to get very many benefits. She doesn't have any benefits. Um, so that was kind of a downside, but I think it just depends on where you work. She said if she would have worked for maybe a larger organization or like even just like the state, she might be able to get that. Common job task, of course, see clients for an hour. They are required to take notes, clinical notes, and that comes into play for a lot of things. They have to be well written and they have to be long and detailed, descriptive. I work in the billing side, so whenever a claim is not paid or we need to appeal something, I need to go to the therapist and ask them for their notes, and they need to be detailed. They need to have diagnosis, so they diagnose things like that. Sometimes they're required to write letters for court, for insurance purposes, or for school work, whatever it is. So all those things are in their job description and their common task. Educational requirements, of course, an undergraduate degree, and of course a master's in social work. There's also very many certificates that you can do. Like I know there's a therapist who does EMDR. So she works with, yeah, EMDR, and so because of that, she goes to either supervisions or trainings, and once you go through so many, you're able to get certified. Same thing with so many other things. There's always a way to learn, there's always things to do, there's always cases that you can be more educated on. And so I know my clinical director is supervised in certain different things that she can only do, and that's only because she still is supervised monthly in order to keep that license or certificate. So there could be very many. Diana only had, an undergrad and master's in social work, but she did talk about wanting to experience maybe or go for more certificates when she finds something more. Starting salary range, it starts about 25 as an intern. So if you're like in a graduate program, they'll start you off there. And this is just South Point. I know other places might be a little less or a little bit more. And of course, it goes up. It depends on insurance. As far as where I work, it depends on how much the insurance is paying, or if the client is covering, or if there's a bishop that's covering. For the most part, and depending on your hours, it's about a 60,000 a year. I personally think that maybe having my own practice would probably um, make more money. From what I have experienced working at South Point, it's more like the owners or like the people that are on top are the ones that are able to benefit a little bit more as far as salary. But it's still a pretty good amount of money, especially for I work with mostly women who have children, and I think it's great because they work a few hours a week, the hours and days that they want, and I think it's still pretty good money. Miscellaneous career information, like I mentioned before, just be ready to encounter different scenarios that might be uncomfortable or different, and you have to just adjust and go with it and adjust to everyone's different lifestyles, beliefs, and things like that, which I think might be kind of tough. But other than that, that was my career profile number 2. Um, I am glad I was able to share a little bit about what I do, and I'm really happy that I have the job that I have because it really helps me focus on my career or future career. Thanks, guys.